I'd like to start our interview making a short presentation of you, both as a Grand Master of the Lodge of Grand Lodge of Mauritius and as a citizen of Republic of Mauritius.
Okay. So thank you for coming to us, for coming to Mauritius. As for myself, as a profane, I was born and bred in Mauritius, and I studied in France and in the UK. I'm a chartered surveyor by profession, and I also hold an MBA, a Master's of Business Administration. In Mauritius, I currently head a practice of surveyors and valuation. And we are also in the property development business. This is profane side of me. Married with 3 sons who are already all grown-ups, and each one living their life. As for Masonry, I was initiated in 1993 and went all the stairs up to becoming a worshipful master of my lodge.
Okay.
Worshipful master of my lodge in year 1999. At this time, when I was initiated, Mauritius, the Mauritius lodges were under Grande Loge Nationale Française, the GLNF of France. But we also already had since 100 years or so the presence of English Masonry in Mauritius through the lodges of the United Grand Lodge of England, the Grand Lodge of Scotland, and the Grand Lodge of Ireland, who have lodges present in Mauritius. In 2005, Grande Loge Nationale Française granted us independence and full recognition. So, Grand Lodge of Mauritius was really born in March 2005. And as for myself, after being a worshipful master, I pursued Masonic studies and in different rites. You know, in Mauritius, we have the advantage, if you can say so, to practice Masonry in 7 different rites. 7. Namely, the English emulation ritual, the Scottish standard, the modern rite, the ancient and accepted Scottish rite, the rectified rite, the York rite of the US, and the Memphis prescribed rite, which is quite particular rite. So I decided, after being worshipful master in 2000, to pursue studies in all of them. And I ended with a 33rd degree in the ancient and accepted. I also ended being Supreme Commander of the Modern Rite for the Indian Ocean. And of course, a Royal Archmason. I also belong to the Knight Templars and to the Order of Malta. So, in a nutshell, this is me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. A very impressive CV. How many Masons and Lodge are in Mauritius? If are lodge in other language than French or English, what about in bodies you have in Mauritius?
Currently, Grand Lodge of Mauritius has 23 lodges. 23 lodges working the 7 rites, which I just mentioned, in both languages, English and French. English and French. And we have a total of approximately 700 Freemasons in the Grand Lodge of Mauritius. All of them spread among the 7 rites and the 23 lodges. And alongside, we also have side degrees, and we also have appended bodies. For example, for the emulation and Scottish standard, we have the Royal Arch Mason for and the cryptic degrees. For the York Rite, we also have the American Royal Arch, independent, granted by the General Grand Chapter of the USA, together with cryptic degrees also. For the Modern Rite, we have the whole body of chapters, and with the supreme body being the supreme commander of the Modern Rite for the Indian Ocean. By the way, I used to be the supreme commander a few years ago. And we also have the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, with the whole body of chapters and a Supreme Council of Ancient and Accepted Rite in Mauritius with its Supreme Commander. All these independent, granted recognition worldwide. There we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. Do you think that today world still need Freemasonry as in the past? What do you think is the role of Freemasonry today?
Well, the ethos of Freemasonry articulates itself around 3 fundamental principles, namely brotherly love, relief, and truth, in adherence to the cardinal virtues of temperance, fortitude, prudence, and justice. The Lodge is an allegory of what I've just mentioned to you. And all members aspire to the setting up of a society where the divisions of the outer world or the profane world do not find a foot there. And members, by the way of symbols and allegories, in our ritual workings, we tend to unite our members through these symbols. So this is precisely why the fathers have required that no politics and no religion find their way in our workings and in our lodges. These are more than enough reasons why Freemasonry has its place in today's world.
What is the most difficult problem facing Freemasonry today?
You'll be surprised if I tell you that the most difficult problem facing Freemasonry could be curiosity and suspicion.
Why?
Curiosity and suspicion from the outside world.
Okay.
When you see that such a nice organization is working so nicely, you can attract curiosity and suspicion. You can see this everywhere in the world when you talk about Freemasonry. And we have to stop at our doorsteps. We have to stop candidates with misconceptions. Misconceptions of what we are, and what we have to find what are their real aspirations as profanes, as candidates. Whether they will be able to go through the Masonic journey with us, whether we will be able to take them to through the Masonic journey. And also, we have to look at the visceral opponents and contradictors who find Masonry as a scapegoat to all major problems in the world. This is so easy. This is so easy, and through all ages, you've seen and heard about Masonry being used as a scapegoat for problems faced by the world and by men at large. And so this has to be handled prudently, very prudently, and with a balanced dosage of open-mindedness, vigilance, we have to be vigilant, and caution in the recruitment of profanes. And certainly reinforcement of the ongoing training process within the lodge.
Okay. So speaking about recruitment, is Freemasonry evangelical or parochial? Do we get out and recruit or wait on application to fall from the sky?
Well, Freemasonry is in essence universal.
Yes.
Universal. And its principles aiming at making good men better cannot be limited in any manner whatsoever. This can't be. It proposes a pedagogy through a system of morality and brotherhood. Brotherhood, morality, by the use of symbols and allegories and dramatic presentations. It encourages its members to expand their knowledge of the world around them. It is devoted to the promotion of the welfare and happiness of all mankind. This is Freemasonry.
Yes.
Our brotherhood, this is it. Freemasonry teaches its members that philanthropy and service is a moral obligation of man for mankind. Man for mankind. So we have the terminology evangelical or parochial is inappropriate, as Freemasonry has never been and never was a religious presentation.
Yes, of course.
Never. It does require the belief in a superior being. This is our first obligation. You have to believe in a superior being. But never been and never was a religious organization. Never. It promotes all beliefs, all religions, and sends all beliefs and all religions at par. At par. No religion is superior to the other. Every man, every human being finds his or her own way to God, and we respect this.
Okay.
Freemasonry, wishes to remain the center of union of all men. This is our aim, to remain the center of union. And irrespective of color, creed, race, religion, etc. We have nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with religions, nothing to do with, nothing to do with religions, with creeds, and nothing to do with this.
Okay.
We just aim at the betterment of mankind as per the plans of the Grand Architect of the universe.
Yes, of course.
That's it.
Yes. Okay, English-speaking Grand Lodges does have problems because the membership is decreasing. what is the situation in Mauritius and in the Grand Lodge influenced by the French languages?
Well, I would tend to say that, well, as I told you earlier, we practice Masonry in both languages in Mauritius, French and English. Okay, and I would be tempted to say that language itself is not the barrier. Probably, I would say, probably is it the content of a rite, be it in English or in French. We all notice what you just mentioned, a decrease in numbers. But for my part, in Mauritius, we may notice a decrease, but depending on what the content, the Masonic content has to offer to the brother. Mm-hmm. You may probably know that you have two types of rituals. You have the rituals which have to be learned by heart, which have to be known by the word. These are mostly English rituals of English origin. Mm-hmm. The yoke rite, and the annulation and the Scottish standing. These are of Anglo-Saxon origin, and these are rituals which must be known by heart. Then you have continental rites. Mm-hmm. Continental rites, which are the modern rite, the ancient and accepted, the rectified rite, the Scottish rectified, mm-hmm. and the Memphis Swiss-Rhyme rite. These are not by heart. These are rituals which are read and worked. And in these rituals, the brothers are requested to prepare a working and to come and to share the working with the brethren in lodge assembly, mm-hmm. and to discuss. Mm-hmm. And we have noticed that most of the time there's a greater interest for those rituals where you have discussions. Mm-hmm. You have full-fledged discussions on workings presented by brethren in lodge assembly. Okay. So I won't say that it's a question of English or French. This is why I was saying it's a question of the content, mm-hmm. of what is offered to the brother. Okay. But you also have, in Mauritius, you have plenty of our brethren who prefer learning by heart and doing the ritual by heart than discussion. We have both. Yes. We have both. But in the Grand Lodge of Mauritius, the rituals by heart are not the most important. Mm-hmm. Our brethren work preferably with rituals where you have full discussions. Discussions in English or in French.
Okay. Do you think the Freemasonry is somehow eroded, or does Freemasonry became more of a charity organization?
Charity? Well, I would say the raison d'être of a rough ashlar is to be worked upon.
Yes.
So as to be in a position to fit in the plans of the temple, of the lodge, and of the grand architect of the universe. This is why we are seen as being rough ashlars. Mm-hmm. A Freemason is a rough ashlar, which has to be worked on himself. Mm-hmm. And we receive the light of initiation, but it is just the first step. Just the first step as we are engaged on this path. So whether it's eroded or not, I would say not necessarily. Not necessarily, because in the process of refining ourselves as rough ashlers, we have Masonic working tools, which we make use to better ourselves. And Freemasonry has a motto: we try to make a good man even better.
Yes.
A Grand Lodge and its brethren who make necessary use of the tools, of the working tools of the Freemason, cannot have erosion.
What is the importance of Masonic philosophy and spirituality today?
That's a big question.
Yes, I know.
Really a big question. Especially in our contemporary era, Masonry proposes to its members a method based on myths and allegories and symbols, embodied in rituals and ceremonies, which provide them with the opportunity to grow as individuals. It creates a forum of unprejudiced exchanges between men from all walks of life, profession, socio-economic backgrounds, and cultural backgrounds also, particularly in Mauritius. Particularly in Mauritius, cultural backgrounds. I'm coming to this. It is, by all means, a progressive method. Yes, I would say a progressive method, whereby the Freemason is presented with working tools at each specific steps it takes on the path of Masonic journey and on the path of his Masonic career. Therefore, although Masonry is not a religion, members must have a belief in Supreme Being. Masonry insists on the right and duty for each member to think for himself in religious, social, and political matters. This will have nothing to do with it. Like any fraternity, some of the Masonic information is privileged only to its brethren, to its members. However, Masonry is not a secret society. We may be discreet, but we are not secret, and we don't have, I don't know how they call it, this Masonic secret, etc.
Yes.
We don't have any secret society. In these days of everything being available on internet, you know that we don't have any secret. But the secret is perhaps the way we work with our brethren in our lodges. It's the way we impart to them that part of philosophy, that part of Masonic path, which can take them to a higher level.
It was a very good answer for a very complex problem. From your international Masonic experience, you have noticed differences between Western and Eastern Europe Freemasonry, between South and North Africa. What kind of Freemasonry do you think is closer to the Freemasonry should be?
I would be tempted to say that Freemasonry should be as it is. Freemasonry has nothing to change in itself. Freemasonry is a whole set of values where nothing has to change. But maybe different populations around the world have to learn how to adapt to Freemasonry and not the other way around. Not the other way around. Because, you rightly said so. I've traveled the world. I've seen Masonry everywhere in the world. Recently, I was the executive secretary for African Grand Lodges, so I've seen all through Africa. And you're right. The way the different populations view Masonry might be different, but not Freemasonry itself. So it's a journey. It's a journey where each human being, coming from different areas of the world, has to learn how to come to Freemasonry. Mm-hmm. And Freemasonry, in fact, it's, if I can use elocution, Freemasonry is for everybody. Freemasonry is for anyone from any walk of life, anywhere on the surface of the globe, provided there is a belief in a supreme being. Because Freemasonry, wherever it's practiced on the globe, Freemasonry will touch your heart, your mind, and lastly your soul. We tend to believe, I believe, that wherever you are on earth, you have the same soul as me. You think and reflect with your mind, and you react with your heart also. So whether you practice Masonry in Africa, in Romania, where I was, in England, in Southern America, in India, well, it's the same trilogy: the heart, the mind, and the soul. You see, so it's the brother of this area who has to adapt and come to Freemasonry. So there is one Freemasonry for each and everybody. It's Freemasonry.
Because the human being is
Exactly.
the same.
Human
in
beings,
Africa, in Europe.
wherever you are, we are the same.
Yes, of course.
We are the same. So Freemasonry is for each and every one of us.
The public perception of the Freemasonry has changed in time. What has led to this variation?
Numbers is not all. We have to maintain the quality of profanes who knock at our doors. And quality is always better over quantity. Always better. Right? Making sure that if indeed the public perception of Freemasonry does not give signs of change, well, forget, Freemasonry should not alienate itself. That's what I was telling you earlier. Should not alienate itself in a radical information process, which would alter its foundations. Freemasonry should not go this way, and which would alter its foundations and its specific nature. Freemasonry should not go on this way. Certainly, Freemasonry has a mission to be more outspoken, to go to the outer world on what its objectives are. But we have to remain cautious. Yes, we have to remain cautious of any form of overexposure. We are not a service club.
Okay.
We are a philosophical club.
Yes, yes.
I would better say we are a philosophical school. We are not out for publicity, etc. So we let people discover who we are and come to us. So, as I was saying earlier, numbers is not is not a question. It's great.
Yes, of course. How do you see the future of the craft?
Yeah. Well, tough challenges, sometimes uphill, yet still very exciting, as we adopt and reinforce our approach and pedagogy. We adapt our teachings to an ever-changing world, an ever-changing and volatile world, and thereby we improve our footprint in terms of goodwill and charity serving. Because I was telling you earlier that we are not a service club,
Yes.
but a philosophical school. Philosophical school with practice of charity, but in a very discreet way. We practice charity in a very discreet way. And we also have to go through our continuous pursuit of knowledge. Ethics. In this world of today, ethics is very important. Ethics, spirituality, and leadership. Leadership bringing more meaning to the life of our people. More meaning, that's so important, and more values to our lives. As Freemasons, respecting the opinion of others. If your opinion differs from mine, I will protect your opinion even though I don't agree with it.
Yes.
That's not from me, that's from Saint-Exupéry. And also strive to improve and develop as human beings, making a difference. We really have as Freemasons, we have to make a difference in our communities through charitable giving, discreet charitable giving, community service, and maybe some volunteerism.
Yes.
So you see, a Freemason, that's really a human being who looks at all these aspects. But we always say, use our teachings to better yourself. And when you better yourself, you can better your environment.
Yes.
You can better your community. And here in Mauritius, I always say, I used to say to all my brethren, be the lighthouses to which Mauritians look at when they have some problems, etc. Don't say you are Freemasons. Let people say, that must be a Freemason in this good way that he is behaving. Must be a Freemason. This is what I tend to tell them here.
Talking about changes in the world, the pandemic changed the humanity. The Masonic meeting became mostly virtual. How do you see the future of the Masonic libraries and the knowledge they contain? What is your view on the storage and the accessibility?
Storage and accessibility.
Yeah.
Okay. The last pandemic has certainly been an acid test. An acid test with regards to the ability of the organization to have some resilience and to adapt. And also to putting up to task with regards to the principal tenets. Brotherly love, belief, and truth. The first place in our midst and towards the rest of society. So whenever it was possible, we had meetings, we had committee meetings. We, for the first time probably, Masonry made use of modern digital tools.
Yes.
And this, I think it was worldwide, modern digital tools. In Mauritius also, the pandemic brought us to Teams, Zoom, all these tools. We've made use of them, but there's one limitation. We in Mauritius, we used digital tools for committee meetings, not for workings, only for committee meetings, because it is our belief that the magic of Freemasonry is what happens in a lodge meeting.
Yes.
Where brethren meet one-to-one, face-to-face, where brethren can touch hands, can share the warmth of brotherhood. This cannot be behind the screen. That's impossible. So yes, the pandemic has brought us some challenges. Yes, we make use of digital tools, yes. But the essence of Masonry must remain the workings in the lodge meeting.
I'd like to ask a thing because I stay in Mauritius 6 days, and I saw many religions here. So I would like to approach Freemasonry from a religious perspective. Freemasonry is open to all the religions. And Mauritius is a country where the population has diverse religions. How is she accepted from this perspective, the Freemasonry?
Well, before talking of Freemasonry, let me have a few words on Mauritius itself. You know, Mauritius didn't have any initial people living here. We all came from somewhere. And we used to be, for a few years, we were Arab. The Arabs colonized us and we call us Dina Arabi. After the Arabs, we were Portuguese. Portuguese call us Isla do Siene. It is the island of the sea, you know, of the swan. Then we were French, and then we were English, and then we were independent. So more than 50 years now that we're independent. So all of us come from somewhere. Right? Mauritius is not a mosaic, but a patchwork. We have a social fabric here where since my birth I'm used to hearing the muezzin at 5:30 in the morning. Then 30 minutes later I hear the bell of the Roman Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
That's completely normal for us. Completely normal. In the streets, we see people, mainly ladies, who are dressed in so many different ways, and we're not surprised. We are really not surprised. We can see ladies dressed in the European way, in the Creole way, in the Hindu way, in the Islamic way. Means nothing to us. We are used to all this. So I would say that we are rich of our differences. We are really rich of our differences. And in Mauritius, you can have a culinary tour of the world. whatever you want to eat, you get it in Mauritius. Whatever your faith, be it Hebraic, be it Zoroastrian, you have it in Mauritius. You have it. And for example, in the Hindu faith, you have different types of prayers. You have all of them here. In the Islamic faith, you have all of them here. In the Chinese way, you have the Buddhist, the Lao Tzu, etc. We have all of them here. All the Roman Catholic or non-Roman Catholic Christian, we have all of them here. Everywhere, Mauritius is a patchwork of.
It's an example that the moon can function without conflicts.
Yeah, there was a writer, I just get his name, who said he visited Mauritius 200 years ago, and he said, when you visit Mauritius, you gather the impression that God created Mauritius, then he created paradise.
Yes.
On this example.
Yes.
This is Mark Twain.
Yeah.
Mark Twain wrote this 200 years ago. We won't boast this way, but we live in harmony.
Yes.
We have all sorts of different beliefs. Myself, I am a mixed breed of so many mixed breeds, from my origins of Jewish, Chinese, Indian, European. This is my mix. I marry a Hindu. Girl, 3 sons, practice both religions, Christian and Hindu. And it's perfectly all right. You have so many festivals.
Yes.
And we take part in all the festivals. Chinese festival of the full moon, we are here. Right? Hindu festival, we eat the cakes. The Diwali festival, we light the candles. For the Eid, they call it the Eid festival. That is the sacrifice of Abraham for the Muslims. Well, we eat the Peru with them. Well, we are our Muslim brothers. It's so natural for us.
Yes.
So natural. Now, coming to Freemasonry, when you live in this kind of country,
Harmony.
so Freemasonry has to be open. Has to be open. We have no problem. I told you earlier, we only request a belief in a supreme being. Call it as you may. Call it as you may. But you must have a belief in a revealed God. So we have sacred books on our altar. We have the Holy Christian Bible. We have the Quran. We have the Torah. And we have the Bhagavad Gita. All of them are open on our sacred altars. All of them are considered as our sacred books.
Yes.
Because it would mean nothing if I ask a Hindu to take his Masonic oath on a Bible.
Yes.
This would not tie him. You say, okay, you want, I don't know this book, but I will take the oath. But on the Bhagavad Gita, it's different.
Yes.
So we have all the books open, and all the brothers, we are in all our lodges, we have brothers from all cultures, from all faiths. And it works perfectly. It really works perfectly.
Many thanks for this interview, most worshipful Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Mauritius.
Thank you for coming to us. Thank you for making it possible for such a small country lost in the Indian Ocean to be able to voice out our feelings at international level. Really thank you. Thank you for this.
With all the pleasure.